Ever wondered about the purpose of the book of Nahum in the Bible? Tucked away in the minor prophets section of the Old Testament, the book of Nahum often flies under the radar. Yet it's a treasure trove of prophetic poetry and powerful imagery. Penned by the prophet Nahum, this book is a vivid account of the impending downfall of the mighty Assyrian city, Nineveh. A symbol of ruthless power and wickedness, Nineveh had long been a thorn in the side of God's people. Nahum's prophecy, however, paints a stark picture of a city on the brink of divine judgment. The book of Nahum serves as a stark reminder that no power, no matter how formidable, can stand against the justice of the Almighty. It's a tale of redemption, divine wrath, and ultimately, the triumph of good over evil. Now let's dive deeper into this lesser-known book of the Bible, chapter by chapter. Chapter 1 of Nahum, known as the Oracle, starts with a bang. This chapter is a powerful song of the Lord's vengeance and wrath, vividly painted with evocative imagery and potent metaphors. It's a chapter that sends chills down your spine as it unveils the prophecy of Nineveh's imminent destruction. In this chapter, we witness the divine fury of God, who is depicted as a fearsome and unstoppable force. The opening verses, for instance, describe God as a jealous and avenging God who reserves wrath for his enemies. It's an intense portrayal that emphasizes God's power and his intolerance for evil. The chapter then shifts to a depiction of nature trembling in the presence of God's wrath. Mountains quake, hills melt, and the earth heaves at his presence. This is not just a portrayal of God's might, but also his dominion over the physical world. As we delve deeper into the chapter, we encounter a key verse that encapsulates the essence of God's character. In verse 7, Nahum writes, "The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble. He knows those who take refuge in him." Amidst the chaos and destruction, Nahum reminds us of God's unwavering goodness and protection for those who seek him. Finally, the chapter concludes with a stern warning to Nineveh. The city, once a superpower in the ancient world, is prophesied to be utterly destroyed. The message is clear: no one is beyond the reach of God's justice. Throughout chapter 1, Nahum uses stark and dramatic language to communicate a clear message. God is mighty and just, and he will not let evil go unpunished. It's a chapter that sets the tone for the rest of the book, preparing us for the inevitable downfall of one of the most powerful cities of the ancient world. As we can see, chapter 1 sets the stage for the impending doom of Nineveh. In chapter 2, Nahum vividly describes the siege of Nineveh. This chapter is a dramatic portrayal of an impending attack. Nahum's words are so vivid and descriptive that they almost paint a picture of a city under siege. We see the shields of the soldiers gleaming red in the sun, the chariots storming through the streets, the horsemen charging forward. The scene is set for a great battle, with the city of Nineveh at its center. Nahum uses metaphorical language to emphasize the intensity and chaos of the siege. He refers to the lion, a symbol of power and dominance, to represent Nineveh. Just as a lion tears apart its prey, so too will Nineveh be torn apart by the invading forces. The lion, once the king of the jungle, is now the prey. It's a powerful metaphor that underscores the brutality of the siege and the inevitable downfall of Nineveh. The theme of destruction is a recurring one throughout this chapter. Nahum speaks of the city's gates being opened for the enemy, of its defenses being stripped away. He describes the panic and confusion as the city's inhabitants scramble to protect their homes and their lives. The once mighty city is reduced to chaos and disarray, a stark contrast to the power and prosperity it once enjoyed. Nahum also alludes to the moral decay that has taken hold in Nineveh, contributing to its downfall. He speaks of treachery and lies, of a city that has lost its way. The siege of Nineveh, then, is not just a physical attack, but also a reckoning for the city's moral failings. But even in the midst of this destruction, Nahum offers a glimmer of hope. He speaks of restoration and renewal, of a time when the city will rise from the ashes. It's a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is always the promise of a new beginning. Chapter 2 brings to life the downfall of Nineveh, a powerful city brought to its knees. The final blow comes in chapter 3, where Nahum describes the fall of Nineveh. In this climactic chapter, the prophet Nahum paints a vivid picture of the downfall of the mighty city of Nineveh. The city, once a beacon of power and prosperity, is portrayed as doomed and desolate, a chilling testament to the consequences of its transgressions. Nahum begins by labeling Nineveh as a city of blood, filled with lies and robbery. The city's sins are laid bare, its corruption and wickedness exposed for all to see. Nahum's words serve as a stark warning to those who stray from the path of righteousness. The fall of Nineveh is not just a random act of history. Nahum presents it as divine justice, a righteous retribution for the city's sins. The city that had caused so much pain and suffering was now to taste the bitter fruit of its own actions. This is the divine law of cause and effect in action, a law that even the mightiest of cities could not escape. Nahum also describes the chaos and panic that grips Nineveh as it falls. He speaks of the clatter of horsemen and chariots, the flailing soldiers, and the countless captives. The once mighty city is reduced to a scene of despair and devastation. But amidst this grim spectacle, Nahum also brings a message of hope. He speaks of a future where Nineveh's tyranny is no more, where the oppressed can live free from fear. This is a testament to God's mercy, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can still be found. The fall of Nineveh, therefore, is not just a tale of destruction. It is a tale of divine justice, of retribution for the city's sins, but also of mercy and hope for those who suffered under its rule. With the fall of Nineveh, Nahum's prophecy comes to fruition, ending this compelling book of the Bible. So, what can we take away from the book of Nahum? Our journey through the riveting chapters of Nahum has allowed us to explore some profound themes. These themes, while rooted in ancient history, continue to resonate with us today. Let's dive into a few of these. Firstly, we encounter the theme of divine justice. Through the vivid imagery of Nahum, we see how God's justice unfolds. It's not a hasty or impulsive act, but a carefully calibrated response to the transgressions of Nineveh. It is a stark reminder that there is a divine balance at work in our universe and that no wrong goes unnoticed. Next, we grapple with the downfall of evil. The city of Nineveh, once a grand empire, is brought to its knees. It's a stark portrayal of how destructive power, unchecked arrogance, and blatant disregard for human life can lead to downfall. This theme is a timeless one, reminding us that evil, no matter how powerful, is not invincible. Lastly, we are confronted with the power of God. The book of Nahum paints a picture of a God who is not distant or indifferent, but intensely involved in the affairs of the world. This divine power is not just punitive, but also protective, preserving those who follow the path of righteousness. These themes are not just historical footnotes, but living truths that resonate in our world today. In an era where justice often seems elusive, Nahum reminds us of the divine balance. In a time when power often seems to be in the wrong hands, it reassures us that evil will meet its downfall. And in a world where God often seems distant, it reminds us of his close involvement in our lives. As we close the pages of Nahum, we are reminded that while kingdoms rise and fall, the power and justice of God remain constant.